Previously on Bobby Smooth.
Shout out to Aaron Fox, man. He had an awful shooting game, like I said, but he was poised enough to hit that mediocre OG to basically ice the game. De'Aaron Fox, he might have his struggles. I know he might be overpaid, whatnot, but hey, I think these are the moments that the Spurs got him for because he is a clutch player.
All right, so obviously I don't know what the hell I'm talking about because De'Aaron Fox made me look like an idiot. I'm just in awe. Not from the Spurs and their collapse, but the Knicks and their comeback. That was the wildest NBA Finals game that I've ever seen. Unfortunately, I couldn't watch it live because I was editing my other videos during the game, so I watched it on my DVR, but I'm flabbergasted, and yeah, I just got to get right into this. This requires a much longer script because so much happened, and we're going to get right into it. What's up, y'all? That's Bobby Smooth, and let's get right into Game 4 of the 2026 NBA Finals. A tale of two halves. The San Antonio Spurs. They started off this game perfectly, and I mean perfectly. In the first quarter, they were up 41-22 up on the Knicks. The largest first quarter lead in the finals since 2016. In every quarter of the finals thus far, they've held at least a 10-point lead. And I can see why in this game. Devin Vassell started off lights hot in the first quarter, had 12 points on 3 of 3 from 3. He virtually wasn't missing. Well, actually, literally, he didn't miss at all in the entire first half. Victor Wembanyama, 13 points on 5 of 7 from the field in the first quarter. Overall in the first half, 16 points on 6 of 11 from the field. He was getting to his bag, cooking Mitchell Robinson. He had a few drives on him where he showed some Hakeem-like moves where he did a half spin, shooting the ball up on the backboard. And I think he maybe got Mitchell Robinson a little frustrated because coming down on one of the plays, Mitchell Robinson forearmed Wemby in the throat. And Wemby was instantly hyped off for that. We all know that picture where he pointed to his head and he was hyped. He was like, oh yeah, I'm in his head. And yeah, it was a flagrant on Mitchell Robinson. And Dylan Harper, he continues to be the most fabulous rookie that I've ever seen. He had 15 points on 6 of 7 from the field and 3 of 3 from 3 in 17 minutes in this first half. His three-point shot was virtually the same kind of shots that he was getting earlier on in the series, but the only difference was he was knocking them down this time. He has a good-looking shot. It's smooth. There's nothing wrong visually with the shot. Just in past games, they weren't falling. This game, it was falling. He had a play that I really liked in the third quarter, even though I'm talking about the first half. He had a baseline spin on OG Anunoby where he bumped him, did a spin, OG fell down, and he hit that midi. That had me say, wow, that is a pro move. Newsflash, this is a 20-year-old rookie. Believe it or not, De'Aaron Fox actually had a good first half. He had 13 points on 4 of 8 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3, 6 assists to 0 turnovers. He was penetrating, hitting his shooters on driving kicks. He was getting to his midi. He had a beautiful stop on the dime, midi over OG Anunoby, where he did a spin move. It was easily the best half of this entire series for him. And overall, the Spurs had a historic first half. They outscored the Knicks 76-49, had a 27-point halftime lead, which is the third largest halftime lead in NBA Finals history. They shot 60% from the field, 54% from 3, and made 14 out of 26 of those threes. 14 threes, the most and a half in NBA Finals history. Also, they had 18 assists on 28 made field goals and just 2 turnovers. You couldn't have asked for a better first half from the Spurs. On the other side, with the New York Knicks, they started slow once again, which has been a theme throughout this series. Cat picked up 2 quick fouls within the first 65 seconds of the game. And to be honest, they were questionable fouls. The first one was after just, a few seconds after tip-off. Fox drove and Cat kind of brushed him. It was like body contact, but it wasn't really hard contact. But for some reason, that was a foul. And also on an early drive where he attacked Wemby, he clamped down his arm. His arm got caught and Cat got fouled. They caught that foul before Wemby blocked the shot, but upon review, because he, I guess, was holding Wemby's arm down, they called that an offensive foul. And that kind of reminded me of back when James Harden
was the most feared player for all defenders back in 2018 because of his offensive tactics to exploit the game. That clip where he wedged Josh Hart's arm and they called a foul on Hart, that gave me flashbacks to that. That was kind of crazy. Because Cat picked up those 2 fouls within the first couple minutes, that had him just play 8 minutes overall in the first half, scoring 6 points and having 2 turnovers and 3 fouls. And because Mitchell Robinson, who was missing point-blank layups and was 0-4 from the free throw line with the Hack of Mitchell stuff, he was so bad that the Knicks actually put in second-year and third-string center Ariel Hukporti, who I didn't even know. In my live notes, I put him down as number 55. That's how unknown he was. He played a few minutes. He got a 3 made on him by Wemby. And then he blocked the Stephon Castle layup that led to a Jalen Brunson layup. So for what that was worth, he was a team high +3 in the first half in just 3.5 minutes. So shout out to him. But offensively, it was only Brunson and OG who were the only ones getting it going. Jalen Brunson, he had 19 points on 6 of 14 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, 6 of 8 from the free throw line. OG, 14 points, 3 of 6 from 3, 2 of 4 from 3, and 6 of 6 from the free throw line. But the rest of the team, they were ass. They combined for 16 points on 6 of 17 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, and 3 of 9 from the free throw line. Additionally, just 2 bench points from the Knicks that came from Jordan Clarkson to the Spurs, 22. Even Jeremy Sohan got minutes in which he airballed a shot over Wemby, and then on the other end, he got bullied and laid up by Dylan Harper. And that had me just shaking my head and putting in my notes, take him out of the game. But overall, by all metrics, the Spurs were supposed to run away with this one, and the game was supposed to be over before it was actually over. But of course, that didn't happen. Enter the second half, the third quarter. That's when the energy shifted. It started off pretty fine. Fox, he had a cross and pull-up midi over De'Aaron Fox, over OG Anunoby, and that gave the Spurs their biggest lead of the game, 81-52, and it went downhill from there. 26 seconds later, that's when Wemby elbowed Cat in the face. That knocked him to the ground. At first, it looked like a normal basketball motion, and overall, it did look like an overall basketball motion. I don't think Wemby meant to elbow Cat, but because he made contact with his face, that was called a flagrant 1 on Wemby, and that was notably his second flagrant foul of the playoffs. And to note, Wemby now has 3 flagrant points in these playoffs, and that's because the flagrant 2, the elbow on Naz Reid from round 2, that counts as 2 points since it was a flagrant 2 and he got ejected. If he gets one more flagrant point, so one more flagrant 1 foul, that means he's going to get an automatic suspension for the next game. And it was very convenient that he wasn't assessed that flagrant foul on Jalen Brunson for throwing him to the ground back in Game 3. Even after the game, the refs reviewed it, but it still wasn't a flagrant on him some way, somehow. Wemby's the NBA golden boy, and I think that's undeniable at this point. At this point, I started to wonder, would the Knicks try to bait Wemby into a flagrant foul the rest of the game, or perhaps the rest of the series? Because Wemby, obviously being out for a suspension, that changes the Spurs dynamic completely, and that would be perfect for the Knicks to pounce upon, but that isn't what I want to see. It isn't what fans want to see, but it's an option, and especially since they were down 27 at the time. But from that point, the Knicks ended the quarter on a 23-9 run in the final 9.5 minutes after it was 81-52. And this run included Cat making both of his flagrant free throws, OG having a transition dunk off of Hart's bounce pass, Jalen Brunson getting a 3 off of Mikal Bridges' screen on De'Aaron Fox, and then Cat hitting a corner 3 over Wemby from an OG pass. And this is when I noticed the Knicks crowd started to wake up after these buckets. And then Brunson inbounded it to Josh Hart at the top of the key for a wide open 3, since nobody respects Josh Hart, but he made them pay. And that capped off a 13-0 New York Knicks run. And the Spurs' 9 points in this run only came from Castle and Harper free throws, Harper making a midi, and Vassell making the final three-pointer of this game. Overall, the Spurs' third quarter lows were no Spurs scored over more than 4 points. They shot 2 of 12 from 3 in this quarter. And what was evident was that they weren't generating those same looks like they were in the first half. And this was highlighted by Wemby missing a pair of quick threes after a few offensive rebounds, in which it looked like he was just jacking up quick threes for no reason. I mean, they were up by 15 at the point, but that's still no reason to just shoot them because you want to maintain that lead. But whatever. If y'all thought the third quarter was bad, the fourth quarter is even worse. So the Spurs actually start off scoring the first 5 points in the quarter. Dylan Harper attacked and laid up Deuce McBride at the rim after, for whatever reason, Deuce was guarding Dylan Harper really close, way outside from the three-point line. Like he's way more of a threat outside to shoot than he is than going to the basket, but whatever. And then Wemby, he went 1 of 2 at the free throw line, but he actually on one play played like his 7'5" height and put up multiple putbacks after missing around 3 Knicks, and he put it back in with Cat draped all over his arm. And at that point, I was thinking he'd easily average 30 points if he just do this more than shooting. Just throw it at the rim, and you can get these offensive boards. You're going to put it back up, or you're going to get fouled. From that point, the Spurs don't score another field goal for the next 5.5 minutes, and the Knicks go on a 20-4 run. Buckets include Bridges hitting a transitional layup. When Wemby was trailing him, he just missed it, and this came off of a beautiful two-handed bounce pass from Josh Hart. And then out of a Spurs timeout, when the lead was cut to 15, Cat had a very, and I mean very tough and contested three-point shot over Keldon Johnson when he fell into the Spurs bench, I believe. And that was at the end of the shot clock, so huge shot and hell of a shot for Karl-Anthony Towns' first fourth quarter points in this series. Yes, you heard that right. And then after that, OG hit a corner 3 right after checking into the game, and that was his 6th 3 of the game. And shortly after, the Knicks, they played tight D on Wemby and Harper towards the half court when they were doing a handoff, and there was so much pressure that Harper actually almost leaned over the half court line, but at the last second, he threw it and OG caught it in his hands, and that led to Cat coming down and having a bruising baseline drive on Wemby, doing a pump fake and floater over him. That cut the lead to 9, the closest the game has been since the first quarter. And on a possession after free throws from Alvarado and Brunson, and a Brunson layup, Castle doubled Brunson and Wemby off of a screen, and then Brunson swung it to Cat and then Alvarado, and that led to a defensive breakdown, and Alvarado hit OG for the wide open corner 3, his 7th 3 of the game, and that cut it to 4. Knicks crowd was electric, and that was with 4:41 left. So the Spurs, they did try to weather the storm. Fox had a 3-point shot over Cat to end the run, and then Wemby had a midi. But after that, Jose Alvarado, he came up huge. He had a dribble spin move on Champagnie to get a layup, and then he had a 3-pointer off of a pick and pop with Jalen Brunson, and that kept the game within 4. Later on, following a brick 3 by De'Aaron Fox, Brunson later FaceTimes Wemby with a spotted 3-pointer, and that cut it to 1. I was like, wow. This is when the fiery emoji started popping up in my live notes because I couldn't believe what I was watching. Following that, Fox makes a horrible turnover, and he tries to hit Wemby on a pick and roll towards the half court, but Wemby wasn't looking, and Fox got caught in the air and threw it away. This led to Josh Hart stealing the ball and going down the court with a chance to put the Knicks up 1, and he smokes the layup. The way he went up for this shot, it was normally like how he goes up and does a two-handed dunk off his right foot, but I don't know if the adrenaline or the Knicks crowd got to him, but it looked like he was caught in between wanting to shoot a layup or dunk it, and he kind of just lofted it up above the rim, and it hit the back of the rim. And man, was that a deflating play for the Knicks crowd, the Knicks team. The following possession, that leads to OG following Wemby. And at this point, it's the Spurs up by 1 with 1:47 left. The Spurs have a chance to go up 3 with these Wemby free throws. And I already penciled in that he was going to make these 2 because Wemby is a great free throw shooter. But lo and behold, he misses one. And then I'm like, oh, okay. Instead of 2 of 2, 1 of 2. He misses both? Ain't no way. Ain't no way, dude. I was shocked. That shouldn't have happened. But that's exactly what the Knicks needed to give them that composure after that deflating Josh Hart missed layup. And of course, lo and behold, Brunson comes around to give the Knicks that 1-point lead with a stutter step dribble and running floater past Stephon Castle, putting them up by 1. And the very next possession, Josh Hart redeems himself. He forced Castle to dribble out of bounds baseline, and he actually stepped out of bounds. And that was exactly what the Knicks needed, and that was a very, very shaky possession from the Spurs because they were bobbling the ball. They almost lost it even before that, but shout out to Josh Hart for making up for his mistakes. Then later at the 30-second mark, the Knicks, who were up 1, were forced a 24-second shot clock violation by the Spurs, so good by them. But next possession, Fox misses a pull-up midi over OG Anunoby, but because Josh Hart was ball watching, he allowed Stephon Castle to parachute in and go for the putback layup, and Josh Hart pushed him in the back, followed him on time. That was another mistake that could have defined this game as Stephon Castle hit both of his free throws. Then this next sequence is wild. So out of the Knicks timeout, Brunson drove past Vassell and he missed a floater over Wemby, and the ball gets deflected into the Spurs backcourt. At this point, it's around 15 to 10 seconds left in this game and the Spurs have the 1-point lead. Fox chases the ball down, and instead of dribbling the ball out and forcing the Knicks to come to him and follow him, for whatever reason, he shoots a layup and OG swats that shit. Why did you do that? And then what this leads to is Alvarado getting the ball, like 5 seconds left. He dribbles to half court, and it looked like he was about to go in the backcourt for a backcourt violation because Castle was trapping him, but Fox bailed them out with a foul. In real time, this looked like a backcourt violation, but really because it wasn't, with the ball being on the other side and then Alvarado's feet being past half court. But that was the perfect opportunity for the Knicks because the Spurs, who, to be kind of fair, had a foul to give, but that was kind of dumb because they presumably would have gotten the ball back after Alvarado would have went in the backcourt. But no. So overall, Fox, so many mistakes on this sequence, man. Because even if he made the layup, that's still a dumb play because the Knicks would have been up 3, still a 1-possession game. They would have got the ball inbounded, and they could have called a timeout and set up for a play to tie the game. But instead of that, and instead of dribbling out the clock and making them come to you so you can get fouled and go to the free throw line or whatnot, or play the foul game overall, you shoot and you get the layup blocked. I don't have to harp on that any more than everybody else in the internet have already done. And this leads to the play of the game. Out of the timeout with 5.7 seconds left, OG inbounds it to Jalen Brunson. He gets it right at the half-court line. He has Wemby on him. Fox comes to double team him, and Brunson just shoots a long-ass three-pointer attempt. He bricks it, but no one was on OG Anunoby after he inbounded the ball. So that gave him a running start to go up and get a Superman putback layup with 1.2 left to go. Knicks up 1. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe this play. De'Aaron Fox, you did not have to double team on Brunson. I've said this in one of my past videos. Why are you doubling Brunson? I mean, in this case, no, he didn't pass the ball out. He just shot it. But he already had Wemby, the best defender in the world. No, Fox, you stay on one of your men and make sure that no one gets that rebound. But no, that didn't happen. And because of that, the Knicks went up 1 with 1.2 seconds left. And then the last play of the game. Spurs get the ball advanced after that timeout. Dylan Harper's inbounding the ball with Cat covering him. And Wemby sets at first I thought it was a really good back screen, but upon watching it again, it was just kind of like putting his hands on Josh Hart. He freed up Stephon Castle for what would have been a wide open alley-oop. But because Karl Anthony Towns got a fingertip on that ball, The pass was short, and that caused Stephon Castle to come closer to the ball than what he wanted to. Catch it, he caught it low. He was struggling bringing the ball up, and when he eventually tried to shoot it, it ended up in Josh Hart's hands, and that was the end of the game. Wow. The biggest comeback in NBA history I just witnessed. Wow. As crazy as that game was just by watching it, it gets even crazier when you get into the box score and you see the stark difference between how the Knicks and the Spurs played versus the first half. The Spurs in this second half only scored 30 points on 8 of 39 from the field, 3 of 17 from 3, and 6 assists to 9 turnovers. Literally night and day. It was like a spell got casted on them and they lost their basketball superpowers or whatever. On the other hand, the Knicks, 58 points on 21 of 41 from the field, 11 of 20 from 3, and 16 assists to just 6 turnovers. Wemby's going to get some flack for this game because of how bad De'Aaron Fox was. But, Wemby, you still need to be held accountable, dude. 8 second half points on 3 of 14 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, and 1 of 4 from the free throw line. Just all around, not shooting well. Man, but overall, 24 points, 9 of 25 from the field, 2 of 8 from 3, and 4 of 7 from the free throw line. Okay, 13 rebounds and 3 blocks, but really, you're supposed to do that. This was arguably the worst game of the series for Wemby, arguably worse than game 1. And a fun fact that I found out in this game while doing some research is that excluding his games when he went out early with the concussion in round 1 and the ejection in round 2, the Spurs are 8-2 this postseason when Wemby takes 5 or fewer threes, but 4-5 when he takes 6 or more. It couldn't be more evident that the Spurs are the best team in the league when Wemby takes 5 threes or fewer, and a non-playoff team when he takes 6 threes or more. De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox had the best first half of this series, but also the worst second half of this series. Man, 5 points on 2 of 8 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, and 1 assist to 4 turnovers. The man had more turnovers than field goals. Just extremely poor clutch play, and this is coming from a 9-year veteran. We wouldn't really expect this, but maybe there is something to it because De'Aaron Fox, who played on the Kings, a losing franchise for decades, he's only been to the playoffs prior to this postseason once, 2023. But on the Knicks side, on a positive note, OG Anunoby, dude, 33 points, 10 of 15 from the field, 7 of 9 from 3, 6 of 6 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 2 stocks. He's been an amazing two-way player throughout this entire series. He's been the most efficient player this entire series. Considering how great he's been and that tip-in shot to win them a game, he's a Knicks legend and he's arguably Finals MVP right now. Jalen Brunson, he has his best scoring game of the series, 36 points on 12 of 25 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3, 9 of 11 from the free throw line, to go along with 5 boards, 7 assists, and 3 steals. He just was bringing them back haymaker after haymaker. This is nothing new. Jalen Brunson is the most clutch player in the NBA. I mean, outside of that missed 3, we're going to get that a pass. Overall, Jalen Brunson, he had a hand in bringing them back, and love it. Love it, love it. Karl-Anthony Towns, despite having those early 2 fouls, he still put up 13 points on just 5 shots, 10 rebounds, and a game high plus 17 in 26 minutes. And he only ended up with 4 fouls for the whole game. So shout out to him for still finding a way to be effective in this game and for scoring in the 4th quarter. I just got to give a big shout out to Jose Alvarado. Man, he closed out for Mikal Bridges, who was basically a nothing burger for the 2nd straight game, 3 of 9 from the field. But Jose, dude, he came in and did his thing. 8 points on 3 or 4 from the field, hit big shots, that clutch 3 that was bringing him back at the end, 2 of 3 from 3 overall, and plus 11 and 15 and a half minutes off the bench. This is what Tom Thibodeau would never do. And this is why I had no problem when he got fired last year, even though he led the Knicks to their furthest playoff spot since 2000. It's because he wasn't using his bench much. He was wearing down Brunson. He wouldn't trust those guys to come off the bench. But Mike Brown, he's doing the opposite and is paying dividends. So shout out to the Knicks. A huge win at MSG, 3-1, going back to San Antonio tomorrow night. I believe personally that because of how great that Knicks win was, they want to end it in New York. I would not be surprised at all if the Spurs win Game 5. If I'm a betting man, then I'm betting for the Spurs. But Game 6, it's the Knicks. The Spurs, I can't believe they've had a 10-point lead in every game this series, but I've only won one of these games. This is clearly, like I've said earlier in my videos, a learning series. And if I have to say anything as a closing statement, De'Aaron Fox has to be gone. His big contract extension with the Spurs starts next season. We've already seen for a whole season that a rookie Dylan Harper is better than a year 9 De'Aaron Fox. And that gap is probably only going to get bigger, in my opinion. Might be biased because I'm a big fan of Dylan Harper. But yeah, we've seen enough. De'Aaron Fox, pack it up, man. Pack it up. This series is not over, but I think the result is written on the wall. That's what I have for this game review. This was longer because this game was so crazy, and I think this was a classic. Best game of the series, one of the best finals games ever, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Thanks for watching, and catch you guys next time.